to help all the mechanical industries. So we are reaching out today to about average 4,000 companies on an annual basis, all the way from the SMEs to the bigger corporation. Cetim is mainly European-based today, but venturing into Asia to support global clients and also to see what are the requirements on a more ground base here in the region in Asia. So the topic I wanted to talk to you about today, and thank you for the organizer, is how close we are and why globalization is very important in your business strategy here in Malaysia today, and how it is tied up with Industry 4.0 and in particular the topic of robotics. I really enjoy this slide first because an industry is to survive in a global world today. So if you have been doing the same process, have been manufacturing the same way for the past few years, there is a problem because you might not survive in the future. It's very, very important in any business to be and stay innovative all the time and to adapt to change. And this is even more true as you will be more and more exposed to globalization, being a small SME as much as being a bigger corporation. How many of you are less than 25 years old? Can you raise your hand? How many are less than 25 years old? Not too many, okay. Well, you all know this brand. This brand was a leader. This brand was known by everybody who had their first handphone back 15 years ago. And this brand was even having a market share of 50% all the way to 2009, let's say. 2009, 2010. So one phone out of two wears a Nokia phone. What's left of Nokia? Almost nothing. They're in the limbo, they're looking what's their next strategy since they have been bought over by Microsoft. But basically from a major leader, global leader, identified by every single person in the world who identified to this brand, there is nothing left. So even big corporations, if they don't adapt to change, if they don't progress towards innovation, they might be dying. So what about smaller companies? It's exactly the same and even more exposure, I would say. So what I would like to do is just to narrow down on some topics which are close to Malaysia in terms of globalization, linked to what I was just saying before. Palm oil production, okay, very big, very important, very strategic activity in this country, together with your neighboring country. Until 2006, Malaysia was the first exporter of palm oil. Suddenly, Indonesia just doubled compared to Malaysian production, despite growth still on the Malaysian side. And today you have countries, other tropical countries, who are coming and of course are hungry to get a part of this stake of production. So for sure, they are still very far behind. But for how long? Will they increase their yield? Will they make better margin? Will they be more competitive? We are enjoying, you are enjoying today a comfort zone where you are the leader and you have volume. But tomorrow, with these hungry new countries coming, if they are able to provide maybe better technology, better production approach, they will be much more comfortable in a market which might be shrinking. We don't know. That's going to be a challenge. So that's one. The second one, which is more on the industrial side, I would say, which I could take as reference, is automotive. It's a trendy topic, especially with the new government, I guess. But it has been a topic going on since, of course, the change of shares on Proton as well. If palm oil would be on a global level, with a very strong regional strength, a very local regional strength. Automotive is a bit more tricky, is a regional need, and I would say it's not so much globalized in terms of supply chain, but more regionalized. And Malaysia is a small country as a player in this market. In terms of market itself. So without the market, of course, it's difficult, and the chicken and egg story, to become competitive because you don't have the volume. But we are now facing a situation where everybody is eyeing at this market as well. Not only for selling of cars, but also for selling of parts. So there are only two options. Either the Malaysian companies involved in automotive parts are strengthening to make sure they have the capacity to export regionally and to compete with other countries who are doing manufacturing parts, such as Thailand, for example, or even further north, Korea and China. Or it's going to be the opposite, meaning to say, these guys will have the strength to beat the local companies on their own market. So again, we are here in a situation, it's not global, it's more regional, I would say, for automotive, but on a do or die situation. Either you scale up and you go to look to become competitive in this region, or you are really at the risk of not being able to sustain procurement departments which are now looking for more regional supply of parts, and with probably, we don't know how it's going to happen, how long Malaysia can be protective of their own ecosystem. The third one is probably the market which is the most globalized today, and is also a trendy market for Malaysia. Malaysia has been looking for new leverages. We went through oil and gas supply in terms of industry manufacturing. We went through automotive supply when automotive was born in the 80s. And today we are looking for new markets. And aerospace has been highly promoted and very strategic to Malaysia in the past few years. There have been some successes like CTRM in Malacca or UMW in Serenda. But here we are really at the global level. It's a low volume, high cost market, and we are not competing with our neighbors in Thailand or in Singapore. Parts or aircrafts are coming from anywhere in the world, and it's really procured at the world level. So here you have to compete with UK, with US, with France, with Germany, if you want to enter this market. And furthermore, you have to compete also with other friendly competitive countries such as Mexico and Morocco. We are now the new hubs for manufacturing aerospace. So it's important to keep an eye on that, because it's not by having some local programs that you will be able to sustain the global strategy if you venture into manufacturing of aerospace component. Keep in mind your competitors, but beyond keeping in mind your competitors, what are actually procurement department looking for exactly? Let's put ourselves in the shoes of the buyers. I was myself purchasing department manager for a few years in the chemical industry. So actually, I know how we work as purchasing department, as purchasing strategy. So just a quick look at the vendor pyramid. Of course, if you are bottom of the pyramid, and if you stay at the bottom of the pyramid, you will struggle. So first of all, in a business strategy, you need to make sure you try to get closer to your end customer. If you are only producing simple parts and your business strategy is to remain there, you will not progress as a company. And furthermore, you will struggle in terms of profit margin, because the lower you are, the more you are squeezed. So that's the first. Second, as a purchaser, as an international procurement department, we are lazy. We are lazy. We don't have time. We have a global strategy. So what we are looking for, and we have real KPIs, which is, first of all, on panel optimization. As a purchaser, I had every year to cut off 5 to 10% of my vendors. That means only left those who are higher up there, which are in direct contact with our organization. That means also global accounts. That means accounts which are not only in one country, but looking for companies who have activities in Europe, in Asia, and so on. So that would be globalized accounts. Third is, and fourth, I would say, is integration and partnership. Basically, we are not looking to give drawings and have an answer on these drawings with a quotation. We are looking for companies who are saying, okay, this is a drawing, but maybe if I could do this differently, you would benefit from it because we can offer you a lower price and still the technology is going to be the same. So again, as purchaser, we are looking for people who think about helping us to reduce our cost, not just to respond to RFQs. And also in terms of integration is to say, okay, I can do this part, but thinking about the pyramid, if I'm able to join all these parts together, I can be competitive because I can make you a global offer, which is at a lower cost than what you are buying today. Last but not least, technology partner is R&D. We have less and less R&D at the top level. If you look at automotive manufacturers, for example, the engine is not designed by them. The electronics are not designed by them. They are mainly focusing on the shape of the car and the marketing. And at the end, they are assembling. So all the tier 1 are working for them on the R&D actually. In conclusion, on this point, buyers are looking for companies, of course, who are able to master cost, quality, and delivery with a continuous improvement trend. Remember, there cannot be any stagnation. There has to be improvement every year so that there is cost down and new technology every year. Companies able to propose solutions to their clients, and companies who have embraced Industry 4.0 as a whole. If I have a few suppliers to choose from, I would choose the one who has already an embryo or something which is connected today to this topic of Industry 4.0, even at a smaller scale. So Industry 4.0 is going to be a topic which will be shared probably by my fellow speakers. There is not, of course, a single strategy on Industry 4.0. We talk a lot nowadays in the world about this keyword, Industry 4.0. Every country has a strategy. Every country has to adapt this strategy to its own needs and requirements. So the German Industry 4.0 might not be the same as the French one, and might be different from the Malaysian strategy. And Malaysia, I guess Maida will talk about it, is probably going to launch soon the blueprint on the program here. Now, what are we talking about? I'm not going too much in detail because it's many different things. Is it this? Is it this? Is it this? Is it this? It seems very complicated, especially for SMEs. And our organization has been working, like I mentioned, on Industry 4.0 in France, especially to reach out to these SMEs who feel that this thing is a very big thing, but very hard to understand and implement at the SME level. Bigger organizations have up to VP Industry 4.0 today. At the SME, we are still scratching our head. Most of the SMEs are still scratching our head on how can we connect to these key points. So The important, and it has been highlighted already, is training, is education, awareness. And if we bridge, I would say, let's be very strict for SMEs. Let's take a very simple example. We don't even speak yet about advanced robotics. Let's just speak about automation and robotics. Let's move forward. And it's simple, it's all about progress. We all work very hard, but if we don't work smart, we have to remember the guy behind in the picture. He's warning us that we might not survive. So in France, in France, we have worked with organizations to support them to embrace robotics, especially for smaller companies. And this is a program which was called Robotics SME. It's a program which was sponsored by the government, and which was launched 4 years ago, because we realized that yes, idea was there, but the ground was we are still a big gap, and we are no different from Malaysia in terms of maturity, in terms of automation and robotics. So we had to pull out this company from where they were on the manual manufacturing. So after 2 years of this program, to support them to spin off and to invest in their first robot, the SMEs, so the first 80 SMEs, with the first robot investment, they have 84% productivity increase, sales increase, profit margin increase, venture into new international markets. Very happy about working condition improvement and complaints from the staff. And they recruited more staff because as the company progressed on the whole, they had more business and they were able to grow as a company to employ more people. And most of the companies are now investing in second, third, fourth robots by their own. But the first robot, we help them to support on the approach, the project management, and selection of the right application for them. So what is the key message on our experience is that for an SME, it's very hard to calculate an ROI which is just linked to the investment of your robot to replace labor. Remember what I was saying to you before, as a purchaser, we are looking in the company's profile. So when you invest in a robot, actually the effect is mainly an effect of image, which helps you overall. It helps you for the client to look at you from a different perspective and to show that you are willing to move forward, that you have your own strategy to move forward. But it also helps you from a recruitment perspective. Employees would apply to your company, staff would apply for a company who is more high-tech, even if you are in a conventional manufacturing activity. The company is highlighted also at the higher level in the country, and the most important is that it generates more business and reduce your cost. But thinking about purely replacing labor by switching to a robot is a mistake, especially at the SME level. Invest in your image. Invest in, of course, efficient process with a robot. But it doesn't mean that you have to compare just how much can be my gain compared to having a foreign workers, because anyway, you cannot do the math with that. I'm a bit short on time, sorry, so I will not go into that detail, but we spoke about it. What we also spoke about is that not to forget, we are not just speaking about the pure process itself when we study a project of robotics, but we have to speak about the study of the production flow, which has to be evolving as well, and the skill development. And I would say beyond that, normally in such a project, we also look into the company's global strategy. I speed up a bit, sorry. Of course, robots come in many ways. Malaysia is still a very strong logistic hub. It's maybe an area where there has been so many changes in the past few years. So typically the example I want to take here is that I visited a lot of warehouses here in Klang Valley. They are all fully manual today. So of course, from a cost point of view, you cannot beat today a robot such as this one because it has a cost. But what are people looking for today? They want to order something online and they want to get it next day. And these processes are much faster than the human processes. So you might be competitive from a cost point of view, but you might not be competitive from a lead time point of view. And if today lead time is more important than cost, then you are out as well. So many types of robots. You have seen some in the hall outside there. Congratulations for the company who exposed. 3 categories: industrial, professional, and domestic. All industries can look into robotics. There are no restrictions at all. And we spoke earlier about oil palm. It's probably an area which is way under studied today in terms of application. It's not easy, I don't say it's easy, but there are solutions. I give you a quick example: harvesting apple in South America. South America is a very competitive country in terms of labor. They have cheap labor, but yet some companies invested in robotics. This is a robot. It's not doing the harvesting by itself, but it's helping to harvest to make the process more efficient. So, bigger corporations, of course, have means and can display and can use it as a real marketing tool to invest in robotics and to be very efficient. Small organizations have to be much more careful. A lot of applications today lacking on robotics here in Malaysia, based on my 18 years of experience visiting this country, is in the packaging industry. You're still using a lot of manual work, and here it's really an added value to complete your end of line by robotics. That's probably a quick step. Robots expensive, robot complicated, robot job killer. Job killer, we say no because it's helping company to grow. Complex, less and less. The arm you saw outside is very easy to program. It's priced as well. We have now modular robot. I would say start ranging would be around 50,000 ringgit, a basic application, all the way to let's say 10 million ringgit if you look into a global cell like an automotive cell. And this is an example of one project we have done in France, where we have a very simple modular robot who can be carried away he's on wheel. He can be positioned on any machine. He's taught, the operator need about 10 to 15 minutes to teach him what he has to do, pick and place. The production would then run for 2 to 3 hours until the series is finished. And then the robot would be pulled out to put on another process, to be taught for 10 minutes, and then he would repeat again another process. So very simple, very flexible, very safe because the latest generation of robots don't need any fencing anymore. And this is probably a very interesting area for SMEs in particular. So I would finish with a business case which is quite close to companies I have seen in Malaysia as well. For example, if you are in welding in small or medium series of welding. This company we worked with in France basically was doing all the operation manual, but they had an order for 100 pieces a month of one product, just 100 a month. And they decided to look into robotic application to do this specific project. Eventually, They divided, of course, on such an application, the time to manufacture by 2, so 50% less time. And they managed to reduce their cost by 13%, 1/3. By reducing this time to manufacture and to divide this cost, they became suddenly more competitive, and they were struggling business. And eventually they managed to catch back some of the markets they had lost to Eastern Europe. So their clients started to see them with potential of growth and started to give them more business than just the ones they catch in the first place, because eventually they had still available time on the robot to do other activities. So it's a very simple success story, but it shows that, and this company has about 30 employees, so it's really SME. And today they are looking at growth, and they are looking at investing in other applications, in other areas than welding, in order to continue to grow. Conclusion, sorry. Again, change, no progress, no business. Straightforward ROI on robotics should not be considered. You have not to forget the effect of the image. But overall, whatever you invest, it will help you in terms of reduction of cost, reduction of lead times, and increased productivity. And with that, you will compete in a more globalized world, which are looking for high-level companies and also high-level SMEs. Terima kasih.